Hi, we are solving the problems from Test 1, Section 3 in the official SAT study guide. And at this point, we're on question number 13. Now, although the questions don't go exactly in order of difficulty, they do have a tendency to get more difficult as they progress in the section. And then they start over again with the grid-ins. So when you're looking at questions 13, 14, 15 in the non-calculator section, those are the questions that are probably going to be the most challenging and or the most time consuming. So these are ones where you want to take a look at them and say, do I know how to tackle this? And or do I have enough time to tackle it? Or should I skip this one, move on, and come back to it if I have time at the end? And question 13 is really a good example of that. When we look at this one, there really is not a shortcut way of doing it. So if we take a look at this one, we have complex fractions that we need to simplify. And we can do this algebraically, or we can try choosing numbers. But even if you try choosing numbers, you're going to still have a lot of calculations to do. So let's talk about it both ways, and it gives us a chance to review operations with fractions. So it tells us that x is greater than 3. And let's take a look at the whiteboard so that we can start solving it. Okay. So what we have is 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. And they tell us x is greater than 3. So let's make x equal to 4. And then we'll plug it in and we'll solve. So we get 1 over 4 plus 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 3. Okay, so simplifying what we have, 1 over 1/6 plus 1/7. Now we need to talk about how do we add fractions. We can't add fractions when their denominators are not the same, right? So we have to find a common denominator. So we're saying, what is the least common denominator between 6 and 7? And in this case, the least common denominator is 6 times 7 is 42. So I have to say, what do I need to multiply 7 by to get 42? We have to multiply it by 6. And anything I do to the bottom, I have to do the top so that I can keep that fraction balanced. Same thing here. What do I have to multiply 6 by to get 42? To multiply it by 7. Same thing up top times 7. So I'm left with 1 over 7 42nds plus 6 42nds. So now I can add the fractions because they have the same denominator. So when I add fractions, I just add the numerators once the denominators are equal. So 7 42nds plus 6 42nds equals 13 42nds. And now we can review, how do I divide fractions? I divide fractions by multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. So I keep the top the same, so the numerator is 1. So I'm going to make it 1 over 1 to make it a fraction. And then the denominator, I really multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal means flip it over. So 42 over 13. And that's what I'm left with. So now this is what I have when I use x equals 4. So now I have to go to my answer choices and I have to try using x equals 4 until I get 42/13, right? So let's take a look at our answer choices. So we have, we used x equals 4, remember? And what we got when we used x equals 4 is 42 over 13. Now, probably at this point, when you're trying to decide how to use your answer choices or how to choose what answer choices are most likely, we're probably not going to get a fraction out of C or D. So I'm pretty safe to eliminate those and just focus on A and B. And now that takes away some of the calculations. So let's try x equals 4 in A. So we would get 2 times 4 plus 5 over 4 squared plus 5 times 4 plus 6. That gives me 13 40-seconds. So we can probably already figure out that it's the reciprocal of that, which is B, but let's do a double check just in case. So 4 squared plus 5 times 4 plus 6 over 2 times 4 plus 5. And we get 42 over 13, which is what we were looking for. So our correct answer is B. So let's talk about if we didn't use a trick like choosing numbers. Let's talk about how we would do that. Using math. Okay. So, same idea, except now we're using algebra. And now we're going to get straight to the answer. So we have 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. Now remember, we said that the only way you can add fractions is by having a common denominator. We don't have a common denominator right now. So what we have to do is we have to make one. And we would say that the common denominator is x plus 2 times x plus 3. Just like we did with the other one with numbers. So if I'm multiplying the denominator by x plus 2, I have to multiply the numerator as well. And same thing over here. Let's see if we can fit it in. We have to multiply this one by x plus 3. And so we have to multiply the numerator by x plus 3. So what we get is x plus 3 over x plus 2 times x plus 3 plus x plus 2 over x plus 2 times x plus 3. Now we have the same denominator, so now we can add our numerators. So let's do that. So we have 1 over x plus x is 2x. 3 plus 2 is 5 over x plus 2 times x plus 3. And I'm going to go ahead and FOIL that. So first term is x squared. The middle term is outside. X times 3 is 3x. Inside, 2 times x is 2x. So that's plus 5x. And then the last term, plus 6. And now again, I'm dividing by a fraction. So what I do is multiply by the reciprocal. So the numerator stays the same, 1 over 1 times x squared plus 5x plus 6 over 2x plus 5. And now I have the correct answer, and I did it algebraically. So it does save some time in that you can get directly to the answer choice. So depending on your algebra skills and how comfortable you are with those, you could do that. Okay.